Welcome, everyone, to the White Rabbit Podcast. I am your co-host, Matt Kraus, from Bandırma, Turkey, or maybe not from as in born in Bandırma, Turkey, but at least currently living in Bandırma, Turkey. And my co-host is Alper Rosanes, coming to us from Barcelona.
Also not born in.
Also not born in Barcelona, but is currently located in Barcelona. So today we don't have any guests scheduled. So the podcast is the two of us. And we're going to do kind of a grab bag of topics that are of interest. These are things that we talked about this week and we posted about this week.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought today, wow, this stuff is interesting enough to just make a podcast out of these things alone. So here we are. And Alper, where should we start? What topic should we start with?
Well, you know me, I always like digging deeper. And this week I dug deeper on the topic of some things that could be going on in your mind in the way of becoming an effective communicator or a better speaker. Some things as in not physical things, not tumors or something, like literally some negative talk or self-judgments that could be going or even false beliefs that could be going on in your own mind that could be hindering that.
Okay. So this is not about, where to hold your hands. This is not about holding your hands or where to put your hands. And this is not about make eye contact and stuff. This is deeper mental stuff, that blockages that might be holding you back, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That sounds like good stuff. So where should we start?
Well, I'll start with what triggered it, what gave way to it, actually, because I speak to people. I mean, most people that I speak to in my professional life, they want to become good communicators. They want to become better presenters. They want to speak more effectively. And from what I hear from them, they read books, they watch TED Talks left and right, and they even, can you believe that they even practice in front of the mirror? And
no way.
You and I are probably two people who know very firsthand how such an uncomfortable feat that is. So kudos. I mean, hands up. No, what's the expression?
Heads up. Kudos to them. Hats off to them.
Hats off. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Hats off to them. Yeah, practicing in front of the mirror. That's hardcore.
Yeah, that is hardcore. I mean, some of them have even joined a public speaking club. And but
you mean like Toastmasters?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so they are serious speaking geeks. They're talking in front of the mirror. They're joining Toastmasters. These are some seriously geeky people.
Yeah. Okay. But also from what I heard, I mean, a common complaint, not complaint, but, recount of what's going on is they usually find themselves in the same spot. They go in front of people, their manager, their colleagues, their clients or something. They want to establish those deep connections that they dream about, but it just doesn't happen. They cannot find themselves in the skin of that confident, comfortable speaker. And for me, that's very interesting because it makes me think, okay, if you're doing all this hard work, and if you're even putting yourself in front of a mirror and in front of real people in a speaking club, and you're still not feeling that, of course, most probably there's something else going on. And it was a trigger that made me want to dig deeper into this topic.
Interesting. So let me see if I've got you so far. So these are people, they're hardcore speakers and presenters. They're talking in front of the mirror. They're joining a speaking club. And if anybody should be able to connect with their audience, it should be these people. But for some reason, things are falling flat. Is that what you're saying?
Let me clarify. They are connecting with the audiences, but they're not feeling the comfort or the confidence that they would want to be feeling.
Okay.
They're not flunking their presentations. No one is throwing eggs or tomatoes at them. But at the end of the day, they tell me that it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
I should feel better. I should feel more comfortable. And their accounts actually piqued my interest, triggered this search for what is going on, and lo and behold, of course, it came to the mental state, it came to what's going on inside the mind, and it has got nothing to do with the way you put your head, you use your hands. It's nothing to do with the way you design your slides. It's more internal.
Yeah. So what are some of these things that you are thinking might be the issue for these people?
Well, first of all, it has got nothing to do with a lack of knowledge or experience, or even it's not an issue of lack of desire. Like, I'm not telling people, if you really want it, you can get it or something like that. No, there is something more sinister going on here in this case. And it may sound weird. It definitely sounded weird to me initially, but it's all about protecting yourself. Raising barriers inside your mind to protect yourself from certain fears that you think may happen when you expose yourself. Expose, quote unquote, like when you put yourself in that vulnerable situation in front of people and open yourself up for critical feedback.
So let's back up here a second and make sure I'm following you. So these people, they're working hard, they're doing all these things, but still something is feeling not right to them. And you think that maybe it has something to do with some sort of self-defense or self-preservation instinct that they're having?
Yes. Well, I wish I were the one to think that, but no, other people involved in human psychology and more scientific approaches, they are the ones who are thinking that I just expose myself to their research, to their ideas. So I'm like the messenger. I wish I were the one to come up with this, but no.
Sure. Okay.
I'm just a messenger. But from personal experience, the more I read, the more I found out, the more I remembered, hey, I also suffered from this. And I sometimes also suffer from some of them. So I can vouch for the information that I got and that I can share here, through personal experiences.
Yeah. So tell us more. What did you find?
Well, there are almost like patterns. There are patterns of these negative talks inside the mind, and like I said, they usually, more often than not, their goal is very simple, extremely simple, frighteningly simple, to protect you, protect you in the name of keeping you within your comfort zone. To protect you by means of procrastination, for example, making you not want to go out there or not prepare for the presentation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost ironic. You may ask something like, why am I procrastinating the presentation, and how can it what can it protect me from? Well, it can protect you from the fear of making a complete fool of yourself if you believe that it has to be perfect. And since life has got nothing to do with perfection, it's not going to be perfect. So the fear of starting maybe imperfect is something that this negative talk can be protecting you from.
Interesting.
So you keep planning, you keep preparing, you keep playing with your slides. Oh, let me fix this, let me fix that, let me add this, let me add that, or something like that. So
wait, are you saying that one of the things that might be self-sabotaging these people is that they have this desire to be, or they are perfectionists? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that might sound like making an evaluation about them or passing a judgment, so I would refrain from that. But this could be one of the things that I can speak from personal experience. For example, I was one of those people who believed that when the date comes to make the presentation, it has to go perfect.
Yeah.
They never did. They never can. I mean, no presentation is going to be perfect. What is perfect anyway?
Sure.
So while I thought that I was being perfectionist and I was being a perfectionist, and while I was thinking that I was feeling that it was something good, it took me years to realize that no. It's about protecting yourself from this fear of failure. Let's not fool ourselves. So that was a difficult pill to swallow, by the way. That's not easy to face. Yeah. Because you have years of conditioning thinking that, well, I want things to be perfect. I pay attention to these things. Yeah. That's not because of that. So, yeah, like I said, that was a difficult pill to swallow. Another negative self-talk can be about, well, okay, I look around, I see all these people making stellar presentations, and had I started 20 years ago, I would have become so much better too, but now it's too late. So I'm not going to do that. And ironically enough, there's also a protective mechanism going on in here. It's protecting you, if I remember correctly, from facing the reality that you have spent so much time not focusing on that, for example. Yeah. But there's also a big price, which is life is spent in a series of, regrets instead of putting your foot on the ground saying, okay, from now on, I'm going to get better. So it becomes a vicious cycle in which you say it's too late and you don't do. And as long as you don't do the work, it will always get later and later and later. Or interesting. Success will be postponed, let's say, potential success.
So on the first one that you talked about was the desire for perfection. And now the second one is basically, I guess you could say, it's too late for me. Is that kind of your point? It's too late for me, and that causes you to postpone? Interesting.
It releases you from the responsibility of doing something about it. I mean, if you tell yourself, well, it's too late for me. Okay. What do you mean it's too late? It's of course, when you dig deep, it doesn't make any sense. But from another perspective, it makes perfect sense because it's protecting you.
Is this like a life cycle thing, or is this happening to everybody? Like, is somebody who's age, 25 and just starting out in their career as susceptible to this as somebody who's, say, 45 and has been in the game, but maybe focusing on other things for a couple decades? Is this like, are both of them going to suffer this, or is this just an old person thing?
It's a good question. I don't think a 25-year-old would have enough grounds to say, especially about business life, would have enough grounds to say, it's too late for me.
Okay.
You just started, like.
Yeah. If you're 25.
Yeah.
If you're 25 and you're saying it's too late for me, then there's other problems at work.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got perfectionism, and then we've got this, it's too late for me.
Yeah. There's two more. There are two more.
Yeah.
And one is much more sinister than the other one. So I'll save it for the last.
Okay.
But one is more obvious, and it's something about not wanting. I mean, think of it this way. Let's say you don't think it's too late for you. So you put the work, and you still fail.
Yeah.
Now, that's even much more difficult to swallow, probably, because, I mean, the idea that you did your best and it still wasn't enough is not very easy to digest.
Yeah.
So instead of doing that, you just don't do the work. And instead of feeling that, instead of facing that, you just don't do the work.
So wait, this is a case of basically somebody saying the standards are really high, I cannot hit them, and therefore I'm not even going to try. Did I hear you correctly on this one?
It may be related to that, but it was more about acknowledging that even if I put my best and still fail, is going to be devastating. So you just remove the possibility altogether.
Okay. So the potential downside is I'm afraid of the potential downside. That's what you're talking about, huh?
Yeah.
And interesting.
Your subconscious actually wants to protect you from that kind of a pain, which is a big deal. But it also comes at a big price, which is you never find out your real potential. You never do the walk and realize that, hey, I could do it. No, you just sit by the sidelines.
And I'm wondering what this downside could be. I'm wondering, are we talking about like a downside of like a presentation downside where, okay, well, the downside is that I might fall flat on my face and make a fool of myself and everybody will hate me? Or are we talking about a more serious downside, like the idea that I'm talking about might fail and bankrupt the companies? So what would you say? Is this a presentation fear or is this a bankruptcy fear?
When you say the downside, are you talking about the price or the thing that you're trying to avoid?
The thing that we're trying to avoid. I guess I'm talking about both. The thing that we're trying to avoid, the thing that's causing these people, like what's running through these people's minds that makes them think the downside is so bad that I'm afraid of it and I'm not even going to try.
I think it's the fear of realizing that even when you put your best effort, you didn't nail it.
Okay.
I think that's the downside that we're trying to escape from.
Interesting. So it's significantly different from perfectionism because in perfectionism, your motivation is no matter how good I am or how bad I am, regardless of where I am on the scale, I want this to go perfectly. Whereas this, your motivating fear is not perfect. Your motivating fear is something really bad might happen. Even if it's not perfect, something really bad might still happen. Huh, interesting. Yeah. So you don't ever take a shot. You don't ever try.
And you sit by the sidelines and just let things pass by.
Okay. Yeah, and then you said
and then you say it's too late. I mean, if I started before and then you become involved with the second one, which is you say it's too late. It's too late now.
For me. Yeah. So okay, this interesting. Like the first one, perfection, or the third one, I'm afraid of the downside. They might both lead to it's too late for me. Because now, let's say, for example, you're 45 years old and you've been messaging yourself for 20 years that you're not good enough. This isn't good enough to fly. And now you're like, it's too late for me. So you spend the rest of your career
not doing it.
Not stepping up to the plate, not taking a swing, not going to bat and not doing it.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, that is pretty sinister. Okay. And then you said
this was a non-sinister one. This was the more obvious one.
Yeah, this was the more obvious one, and then you said number 4 was really sinister. So what's going on? Like when I think of the word sinister, I think of black things hiding in the dark. So I'm kind of scared of this one.
Something like that. I mean, I when I think of the word sinister, I'm thinking of manipulative because it's about making you think or feel, well, when I look around, I'm actually better than a lot of people. So I don't need to improve myself. And the sinister part for me is because it's actually invoking a sense of appreciation, like you're feeling okay, but it's preventing actually improving yourself. It's hindering, let's say, this drive to get better, this drive to improve yourself. And by the way, I realize that this is also not an easy pill to swallow, and there's an undeniable price that you pay for this. I mean, we all compare ourselves. We shouldn't, but we do. So instead of looking up to other people and thinking or observing the ways you could improve yourself, you do the opposite. You look at people who are presenting worse than you, who are speaking worse than you, who are flunking on the stage, and you say, okay, I'm good enough. Now, I don't have anything against the feeling of good enough, but I think it's important to differentiate between are you saying that because you really are comfortable in your skin and you have put enough work into making you the effective communicator you want to become? Or are you doing it because you know that getting from point A to point B was okay, but if you want to up your game and move from point B to point C, now you're going to have to do a lot of work. Could it be that you're trying to avoid, that thing that you're trying to avoid? So
interesting.
That's the sinister part.
So let me back up here and see if I'm following you. So we're talking about blockers, so things that are that might be getting in the way of somebody who's done all of the work. But this fourth one that you're talking about, the person is basically saying to himself or herself, I'm better than others. I don't need to improve. So if somebody is saying that to themselves, I'm better than everybody else, I don't need to improve, aren't they just
not everybody else? I think that would be an important distinction, because if you think you're better than everybody else, two things happen. One, you're delusional.
Okay.
Two, you don't have to improve yourself because you're better than everybody else. That's why I said you look around other people and you're like, well, I seem to be doing okay compared to a lot of people. Not everybody, for sure. So that was an important distinction to make.
So you're kind of saying you're not saying I'm better than everyone else, but you're kind of saying I'm significantly above average. You mean like that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, something like that. Yeah.
So I'm significantly above average, and where does the blocker come in? The blocker comes in because tell me if I'm following you down the right track here. The blocker comes in because I'm thinking I'm better than average. I'm better than many other people. And what if I get up there and present, then maybe I'll find out that I'm not? Is that why it's a blocker?
No, it blocks your ambition to get even better. It blocks your ambition to improve the existing skill set that you have. By the way, I'm not supporting the idea of, you should have so much ambition that you should get the best in your field on top of everyone else. No, I'm not advocating like unchecked ambition in this regard. But I think it's important to balance it well. Like, again, it's important to try to see in reality, are you not doing extra work because you really think you're way better than everybody else? Or is it because you just don't want to do it and don't want to accept it? So it's easy to compare ourselves with people. It's easy to, how do you say, compare down instead of compare up? Is there an expression like that?
You're talking about comparing yourself. You're talking about basically a comparison that's kind of stacked in your favor. Like, I compare myself to these people who are inferior to me, and so therefore I think I'm great. You mean like that?
Yeah. So I mean,
interesting.
Apart from, I wouldn't use the word inferior, but imagine I go to a kindergarten, I look around kids trying to speak in front of others, and I'm like, I'm way better than they are. So, yeah, but that's not very useful, is it?
I'm better than that 5-year-old kid.
Yeah, that's a low bar, actually.
That is a low bar.
But the sinister part is about you believing that, I mean, kindergarten aside, you're looking at other people who are performing, let's say, worse than you in terms of public speaking or presentations or effective communications, and you're like, well, no, I'm good enough. I don't need to improve. That's the sinister part that I was talking about. It's actually making you feel good and appreciating, but at the same time hiding the fact that, yes, but there's also room for progress.
So before we wrap up, I have a question for you.
Sure.
You and I, we've both been presentation trainers for a long time, for years. We've been presentation trainers for what? How many years? 13 years or something like that? 13 or 14 years.
15, yeah.
Pushing 15, yeah. So pushing 15 years. We've both been presentation trainers for pushing 15 years. So of these four things, what would you say, looking back over your history as a presentation trainer, what are the things that you think you see most often?
Oh, around me. I thought you were going to hit me with it.
No, I'm gonna let you take a pass on this one.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
gonna hit you directly. It's just in our lives as trainers, which one is the one that you have seen in others most often, do you think?
I'm going to answer that question twofold.
Okay.
The one that they declare and the one that they don't want to admit.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more.
The one that they declare is, I want it to be perfect. I pay attention to details. I'm going to prepare until 2 minutes before the start of the presentation.
Yeah.
But in reality, I think just like me, we are most afraid of making mistakes, and we are most trying to protect ourselves from fear of failure.
So their cited reason is I'm a perfectionist, but the real motivation or the real blocker for them, which what you're saying now, the real blocker that you see is, I think that sounds like the third one. I'm afraid of the downside. Is that correct?
Yeah, because I mean, from all these things that I read, from all these things that I experienced in my own life, perfectionism is actually a veil protecting you from something. I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't call it scientific because I'm not in a position to say that, but I believe it almost is. Like, if this, then that. If you have perfectionism, then you are afraid of something coming out into the open, and I can vouch for that from my own life, for sure.
Yeah.
That's why if the person invokes the idea of I want it to be perfect, and I'm like, okay, so what's going on under there? Of course, I don't say that. So, most of the time, sometimes. Sometimes I do.
By the way, I've heard this perfection thing a lot too, and as a trainer, and it always makes me angry when I hear that, because one of at the core of what we do as presentation trainers is help people with their messages and the presentation of their message. And if you're letting your perfectionism get in the way of presenting your message, then you are being selfish. It's like, let the message be the one, let the message decide what needs to happen, not let you decide what needs to be happen. Does that make any sense?
It does. And I practiced it for years, so I'm the last person to preach about that. I'm just going to say, this is what I have done for a long time, and I saw that it didn't work. So my humble recommendation is that you don't do it as well. That's all I can preach about.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, regardless of which one of these four things you might be having difficulties with internally, they're all means of protecting yourself. And over the years, we have built walls around certain fears, anxieties, or potential negative outcomes that we have had. But we could have. But in the end, they were there to protect us. But I think at this point, it's important to make the distinction between what really would protect us or what could be constituting a barrier between us and being good, effective communicators.
Yeah, good point. Okay, so we need to wrap this up pretty soon. So is there anything else that you wanted to put on this issue before we wrap up? Okay.
I feel like some things will come up in future episodes, but for the moment, we'll let the horse lie in peace.
Yeah, excellent. All right, so we'll wrap it up here. So thank you very much for joining us, and we will be back on the next episode.
Okay, see you next time.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.